Welcome, everyone. You're listening to and perhaps watching Hot Sauce Sports. I'm your host, Pease Del Reese. I am joined by my co-host, Terry Tam. He's back after a week off. How's it going, Terry?
Very good. I was not paying attention because I was booking a golf course for Canada Day, which is impossible. Absolutely impossible.
It's also an unpleasant day to play on a course. It's an unpleasant day to play because there are so many people. And if you're unlucky enough to be behind someone who's playing slowly, like for example, if Duke is ahead of you, your day is over.
Because everybody and their fucking uncle are out to play.
Yeah, I think Duke
you guys aren't going to work on that day because we're canceling the holiday, right? That's what people are doing this year.
Oh, it's true. Yeah, we're canceling the holiday. I forgot about that. We're canceling not necessarily the holiday, just the day. Like it just doesn't exist anymore.
It's something I wanted to bring up, it's happened in the news over the last 2 weeks, and I waited specifically for it to fall on Canada Day because I think that it's important to reflect upon any country's history in totality, right? Like it's important that you recognize how your country has grown, but you also can't forget the past and where the past may have been less than pleasant. And we've, of course, we're talking about the indigenous graves that were found in British Columbia. These were children that were seemingly murdered at the hands of the Catholic Church. The history of our country is one that was created by mission of the Roman Catholic Church. And of course, that the way that was taught when you and I were in grade school, for example, and how the priests settled Quebec. We know now, in the way that these conversations are happening in a way they never did before, that it's not exactly the way we learned it when we were children.
Of course, why would you basically tell everybody what you like the illegal shit? Why would you tell people that you killed 750 children?
Well, I mean, if you did that, then you should. Right? Or the best thing to do is not kill 750 children. That's the first step.
Let's try not killing kids. Oh wait, I just did. I just tried and I'm successful at not murdering children.
Yeah, I mean, guys, let's give the church a little bit of credit here. They just killed the kids. They didn't molest them. Okay?
Not that we know. Not that we know of, Eagle. To be fair.
I mean, maybe that's. I mean, we don't want to get into a whole bit about this, but yeah, let's get real. And listen, I'm not attached to Canada Day by any means. Like, it's not something that like I'm not looking forward to. Hey, Canada Day barbecue. Like, I don't give a shit about it. But like, yeah. I mean, he's been saying Jean couldn't care less. I don't really care much about any holiday now that I think about it. Christmas, I'm like 50-50 on.
I love holidays because I get to see my family, and I get to see friends. But like that's the significance it takes on for me. But I am like in general, I am a proud Canadian. I am a proud Montrealer, and to me, it's important to hold your country accountable if you are actually proud, right? And it's important to say, hey, you know what, this is something that needs to be looked at, even though it's happened before, even though the people who are living in the country now are not the people responsible. You still need to listen to the voices of the people that were affected and the families and of the people who were affected. And I think, that's essentially my take on it is, of course, we need to move forward. Of course, no one's saying that you and I, Terry, or other people are specifically responsible.
No, I'm Greek Orthodox. There wasn't a Greek Orthodox church that buried children.
Not this
that
time.
we know of.
That we know of, yeah.
But in all seriousness, I think more than anything else, it's not about who's to blame. It's recognizing the pain of the people who suffered and knowing that what Canada means to me, what Canada means to you, Terry, might mean something very, very different. And the only way we can eventually get to a point where we have similar feelings about the country is we recognize each other's history.
Absolutely.
That said, it's a heavy way to start the show, but it's something important, something that we definitely want to talk about. But let's get into our regular antics because that's why people are here. Terry, it's time for the news. Terry's the news.
It is.
We got a pretty good show today. We did the heavy stuff on the front end. We will talk to our friend and media member Mo Khan. He's joining us,
Weatherman.
TSN 690. Um, he and I are continuing our usual flag football podcast today. So we figured, it's a great time to bring him on since we're going to be talking to him anyway. So looking forward to talking to a lot of Hab stuff with him. For those who will get angry in the first 10 minutes that we don't talk a ton of Habs, I promise it's coming. We brought on an expert for that reason. And we're gonna
Is Mo Khan an expert? Yeah.
Well, I got to sell the interview, Terry.
Well, nobody's buying it.
He's part of the Montreal media shitfest that is the Montreal Canadiens coverage. So that's as close to an expert you're going to get.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say this. Mo Khan does the job in the media that I find to be the worst job. I would rather jack off horses. He works the beat, and I find that to be an awful job. Standing around with a microphone, talking to a bunch of people who never want to talk to you. Listen to Carey Price say nothing all the time. That's not easy. Jack off a horse, it's more rewarding.
You know what's not easy? In front of a green screen and tells us when it's going to rain. So that's also
exactly. And he was wrong a couple weeks ago. He was wrong a couple weeks ago. I had booked a golf day with my brother and his friends for his birthday. And I messaged Mo on the Wednesday. It said it was going to rain. I'm like, Mo, tell me the forecast is wrong. He's like, nah, man, your golf game is going to be canceled for sure. Saturday morning, not a fucking cloud in the sky.
Yeah.
I don't believe any. Tomorrow I'm supposed to be playing. It says it's going to thunder. I don't believe it. I'm just going to show up and see what happens.
I had the opposite experience today. I was outside for the 4 minutes it rained. And because the forecast said 0 chance of precipitation, I wore my green suede sneakers. And suede
First of all, first mistake, you own green suede sneakers.
Absolutely. Guy, I have so many shoes.
Second mistake, you wore them outside.
Yeah. Well,
third mistake, you exist as a human being because you own these things.
That's not my mistake. That's my parents.
I love how we're hyping up Mo's interview and calling him an expert by saying all the shitty things that he does to us.
Yeah. That's what we do. That's the show, Eagle. Maybe you don't understand the show.
So why
maybe
is
you haven't been
again?
here for 100 episodes. Mo's an expert of very few things, but he is a conversationalist. So Mo is I kind of feel like I'm the same way. He's just he's a much better version of that, where he knows enough about every subject that he can carry a conversation.
Yes, absolutely. He's a great generalist. He's also a very good play-by-play guy. That's the thing I think he actually does the best. And honestly, he gets paid to cover the team, right? So I will say, I've one quick question though before we move on to the first story. Worst Twitter account, Mo Khan or Magic Johnson?
I've never seen Magic Johnson's Twitter.
It's the worst. It's Magic Johnson's tweets will be stuff like, "The Suns are playing good basketball tonight."
Yeah, but Mo uses really weird words. He uses words that don't belong.
Yeah.
One time he said, "I'm going to use a football term and say that was an illegal hit or something like that." He was a defenseless player. So I responded. I said, "That's basically a term in every sport, no, not just football."
Yeah. He also sometimes he'll use just English words, and he'll understand 90% of what the word means, but it's not exactly that. So
yeah, he uses the word purchase. He's like, "This team had a lot of purchase." I'm like, "What did they buy?"
Sticks, pucks.
Maybe.
You'd hope.
We'll ask him. Actually.
We'll ask him. First question: what did the Habs purchase?
Yeah.
And how purchase are they?
How purchase are they? What is their level of purchase on their purchases?
For sure. We could go on and more forever, but I do want to get to the first topic. The archetype of a superstar is changing in the NBA, and we've known this for a while. I think this was a great week of sort of what the old heads of basketball saw the game as versus what the young, millennial Gen Z NBA stars are. And where I want to start with this is Giannis praising Chris Middleton after the game, after Chris Middleton basically won the game for them. I think he scored 20 fourth quarter points. And he said basically in the fourth quarter, if he wants a shot at the end of the game, he's going to get it. So before I tell you what I think, Terry. I want to know, were you like? Obviously, I know I'm the more the basketball guy, but what did you think just hearing those comments to begin with?
The thing is that why would they give him the shot? And why was he automatically the shot guy? That's what I'm trying to
Giannis
figure
or
out. Or Middleton.
because he's a better shooter than Giannis, and he's
I think I'm a better shooter than Giannis. Like, that's just...
I mean, you could probably shoot a foul shot in less than 10 seconds. So.
Oh my god, how annoying was that? But like, listen, he's not your star player, and they're saying that you're gonna get the last shot. He's the guy. But there's like, didn't Scottie? Do you have Scottie Pippen on the?
Scottie Pippen's in this too, so don't worry. We'll get
okay, so it's kind of the same thing.
Avoid Scottie Pippen for now.
Okay, I was gonna say it's kind of the same story where it's like I should be getting the shot, but like the shot goes to the guy who can make the shot. Like that's pretty much it.
And look, I mean, listen, people have criticized LeBron for not taking the game-winning shot, even though he's hit more game-winning shots.
So many. Yeah.
But also Michael Jordan passed the ball to Paxton, passed the ball to Kerr, and those two shots won championships. Kukoc actually was when he was retired, so that it wasn't that game. That specific game wasn't.
Oh yeah, because he played with Kukoc. He just
eventually, yes, yeah.
It wasn't that shot. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. LeBron passed to Ray Allen to make the shot to win them the first championship in Miami. And
Ray Allen, the third best shooter of all time, behind Steph Curry and Reggie Miller.
Absolutely, not Reggie Miller.
Reggie Miller number one. Reggie Miller number one. No, I will die. No. I will die on my fucking grave.
There's about 50 better shooters in the NBA right now.
No, there isn't. Peace. There is not.
There
is not. No, but there is not. Like Reggie Miller is the best shooter of all time.
So Dame Lillard is not on that list.
I mean, I consider him.
Carmelo Anthony, not on that list.
No, Reggie Miller is better than Carmelo Anthony as a shooter.
No, not by a long shot. Not in his prime.
Listen, I know I troll and I know I bust balls, but like that's ridiculous.
Not in his prime. Carmelo was one of the most gifted shooters.
You've said some really dumb stuff in the years that we've been doing this podcast. So that was probably the dumbest one.
I disagree.
Oh, 100%. There's no way that Carmelo Anthony is a better shooter than Reggie Miller. Put them at the 3-point challenge at the NBA All-Star Game, and Reggie Miller will do his thing, and it'll go in right away.
I guess.
More times than Carmelo Anthony.
So Trae Young, not as good as...
Nah, Reggie Miller's better than Trae Young.
Durant, not as good as Reggie Miller.
It's different because Kevin Durant's not necessarily like a major 3-point guy. He's like an all-around better player than Reggie Miller. There's no doubt. But if you're talking about like pure 3-point at the baseline, you need a bucket. I'm not going Kevin Durant. I'm going Reggie Miller.
Eagle, when you have a chance, give me those two players' 3-point percentage for their careers. I think Terry will be very surprised.
No, Reggie Miller has a high 3-point percentage.
He does, but
until Ray Allen beat
him. Reggie Miller is 395,
which is okay.
It's very, very good. And what's Kevin Durant? Oh, what's Kevin Durant? What's Ray Allen actually? That's
Ray Allen's 3-point is 384.
Fuck that shit.
Okay, you're right.
See? So if you're going to tell me that Kevin Durant is a good shooter, okay, and then I tell you that Reggie Miller is the best shooter, you can't tell me that I'm crazy. What's Steph Curry's? Steph Curry's is like 4-something.
Who's this?
Steph Curry. He's like 4-something.
He's almost at 5. There's been years where he's almost at 600.
Yeah.
So he's at 433.
Okay, he's like the anomaly. Ray Allen? Give me Ray Allen, Eagle. I want Ray Allen. Ray Allen, to me, he's the best. He's like, realistically, he's the best.
Ray Allen is 400.
Okay, so I think I put Ray Allen up there because he played in a different era where there weren't shooters. So I'm going Ray Allen, Reggie, Curry. That's where I'm going. Ray Allen, Reggie, Ray Allen, Curry. That's what I'm doing.
Curry. Anyway, stop this. Stop this.
That's
not the conversation. Moving on. This
Reggie, Ray Allen, Steph Curry.
Nonsense.
I'm clipping this.
So basically, though, we have Kendrick Perkins. He went on, and Kendrick Perkins is now occupying the space that Paul Pierce occupied as being sort of like my time was the best guy in the NBA and the NBA coverage. And this is what he had to say about Giannis's comments about passing him the ball to Chris Middleton.
Watching the game, then you can't sit up here and come here this morning and say, oh no, Chris Middleton don't look like the Batman. Chris Middleton don't look like the more skilled player. Chris Middleton don't look like he embraces the moment when it matters the most. I'm not saying overall career. I'm talking about right now on this Milwaukee Bucks team, Chris Middleton is the Batman. I saw Giannis on a couple of occasions last night when he went to the free throw line and the crowd started chanting and counting down, you know, how long he was at the free throw line. And he shot airball free throws. He shot an airball three-pointer. But when they were down 6 or 7 points, Chris Middleton said, give me the damn basketball, and he took over. That's what Batmans do. Go pull up the stats. Go pull up the data. Don't even talk to me about Giannis. Don't even talk to me about Giannis and defense. Please don't. Because you know what? I'm going to take you back into last series alone. When it was time to guard Kevin Durant in Game 7, you know who was checking Kevin Durant? It was Chris Middleton. You know who was delivering buckets on the other end in the fourth quarter going toe-to-toe with KD? It was Chris Middleton. Giannis didn't check KD one time. One time throughout the whole entire series.
I think Kendrick Perkins is racist towards Greek people.
I don't think it's that.
I think that's what it is, and I'm putting it out there.
So
Kendrick Perkins hates Greek people.
First of all, when it was like the end of the game situation, it was almost always Holiday on
Drew's
right?
their shutdown guy, right? Like it's
because he's an amazing, like he's a legend. He's one of the best defensive point guards in the last 20 years, basically. Like, he's
in the history of basketball, maybe.
Yeah. But so the thing is that with regards to Kendrick Perkins, like this argument, I feel like this argument of like, you know, you got to be the alpha, and that's all comes from Michael Jordan. That all comes from Kobe Bryant. But like, does it even matter in an era where you're moving the ball around, where the best basketball decision, and we saw even those guys at times, maybe not Kobe, but at times we saw those guys pass up the ball for the better shot. Why wouldn't you want to get the ball to someone who's better at doing that job, especially when you attract so much attention in the middle?
Exactly, yeah, that's another thing. It's like everybody's like, oh, but who took the last shot? But like, who had 3 guys looking at him? You know what I mean? Like, who was wide open?
Also, you know who never took the last shot? Shaq. You know who was one of the best offensive players in the history of the world? Shaq.
So what you're saying is the true Dark Knight delegates.
There we go.
Kendrick Perkins he's trying to be like the new Stephen A. Smith, where he's just looking for sound bites all the time. Like he came out this week and he started saying that nobody wants to play for Luka and everybody wants to play for Trae Young. Listen, I'm not going to disagree with that because I'm not in the locker room, but like Luka he's 2 years in a row. He got MVP votes. Like you can tell when you watch the games, like he's a fan favorite. He's a team favorite. Just because the GM's assistant didn't like him, they got into an argument, doesn't mean that he's not a guy you want to play with.
And that whole team, I don't understand how an organization can do what it just did in one offseason. Like you get rid of the GM that built a championship team and then rebuilt a team to get you that superstar. And then obviously this Hall of Fame coach walks away and then you hire Jason Kidd, who had Giannis, by the way, and couldn't make the playoffs with Giannis. So I don't understand what he's done to earn the job to coach another young superstar. But you know, it is what it is, and I hope the best for him. But it's a weird situation. What's going on in Dallas is a really strange situation.
Very weird situation. But I'm not going to sit there and agree with Kendrick Perkins that he's not somebody that Luka's not somebody that people like to play for. Trae Young looks like a guy like I would love to play for a guy like Trae Young because he's energetic. He's a great player. You know, he's responsible. He's young. He's vibrant. Like he's a fucking 6 shooter. He's a great player. But I see the exact same thing about Luka. Like I can describe them both the exact same way.
Talking about Trae Young, what's the Batman equivalent of him? Because he has to be the villain in this example, right? If the Bucks are going to be like the superheroes and the vigilantes, then he has to be the villain.
But is he a villain or like an anti-hero?
Yeah, exactly. So which Batman villain was actually like a good guy that got a bad rap? Like, are we talking about Two-Face?
Catwoman,
yeah.
Catwoman always had she always like would tip off Batman to give him information. She just wanted to commit her small crimes, but at the same time, she wasn't down with the shit the Joker was trying to pull. She wasn't down with like, you know, these big world domination plots of the Riddler. You know, Catwoman was someone like Batman could never fall in love with her because of, you know, the fact that she was still a crook, but recognized that she wasn't like, you know, this terrible villain like the way the Joker is.
Who's the best Catwoman of all time? Best actress that played her. Like
I mean,
Michelle Pfeiffer's up
can I
there.
say Halle
Yeah.
Berry, even though the movie doesn't prove it?
No, Michelle Pfeiffer. It has to be Michelle Pfeiffer.
I just, it's hard for me to go against Halle Berry for other reasons.
I mean, what
not-
choices do you really have? You have
Anne
Pfeiffer,
Hathaway.
you have Barry, you have Hathaway. Anyone else off the top of my head? Like from like the TV show?
Well, I would say some of the animated ones. I can't remember her name. Strong is her family name. She does a lot of voice acting for DC. She's
Yes.
pretty good.
Yeah,
Tara Strong.
I'm still going Michelle Pfeiffer though. That scene with the milk and the cats, crazy scene.
Yeah, those movies are not as good as you remember if you rewatch them.
I know. I'm just thinking
They're
about the
very
scene now.
campy.
It's very low budget.
We remember we talked about Batman Returns as being the darkest shit ever, and then you watch it back and like, no, it's
Pretty
not.
shitty, actually. Yeah.
Um,
Nostalgic.
So now we've seen, Giannis and Kendrick Perkins. Scottie Pippen is also making the rounds, promoting some bourbon, but at the same time, it seems like the dude is incapable of not making headlines. He of course criticized Kevin Durant, and those two have been going at each other on social media. Also made comments about Phil Jackson on Dan Patrick's show, where he said that he gave the game-winning shot to Tony Kukoc because he was racist. Again, I don't know.
His explanation was the dumbest thing. It was dumber than what you said about Reggie Miller not being the best shooter of all time.
He's not
like,
the best of all time.
He is though,
It's not even Larry Bird.
but he is.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot about Larry Bird.
Also, Klay Thompson, by the way.
He was only there because he was only good because Steph Curry was covered.
Larry Bird was 376.
See, even worse than Kevin Durant.
Yeah, but again, they didn't shoot. He also didn't have a three-point line for most of his career.
Klay Thompson is 419.
Yeah, that's nonsense. He's ridiculous.
That's crazy. Yeah, but you got to
scored
shave.
30 points. He scored 30 points once and dribbled the ball 4 times.
It was 40 points.
Wait, whatever it was, it was crazy. It was insane.
No, but Pippen is like, first of all, he's gone through a lot, like with his wife banging everybody except for him.
He lost his well. He also we saw in Last Dance he had a rough childhood. The way he was portrayed in Last Dance, I thought was a betrayal. Like they made him seem like a burden to the team, and he's one of the 50 greatest basketball players of all time.
One of the 25 best basketball players of all time.
Yeah, sure, I'll give you that too. He's about that.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. No, but his explanation was dumb. It was yeah, well, he didn't give me the last shot, so he gave it to Tony Kukoc, which means he's racist. Like he's like, I could have gotten MVP that year. I didn't get it. How come I didn't get it? Well, because you didn't get it. Like that's basically what it is. He's part of a team. He's like, after what we did, after all the success we had, he didn't give me the last shot. Whatever. Why would Tony Kukoc get it? Tony Kukoc came from Europe, where in Europe they fucking just shoot. That's all they do is shoot. And he came.
That was a style of game back then, right?
Exactly, and especially he came into the NBA as a shooter, where Pippen is not a shooter.
And I think
He
he
was
was
literally
airballed the previous shot he had taken, actually.
Yeah, even worse.
Well, Pippen missed the 2. He had 2 previous chances to win the game and missed both shots. The last one actually he missed completely. Look, I would say racism is more an experience than it is an act, right? So I can't tell someone what they did or didn't experience. I'm not in the locker room. I don't know. I will say that hearing that whole clip, to me, it sounded more about his relationship with Michael Jordan than anything else, because he kept talking about how, well, now it was my team, and now I did all the groundwork, I did all the dirty work, and then you still don't give me the shot. And it's like, well, dude, like it's not about that. And also, he also went the route, by the way, of when you start going third person. Terry, you know that this show is done when P starts going all P's. You know, when P starts going, all the work P's is done, you know, it's time to move on, right? Like, I see these guys specifically from that team, and I'm like, man, you guys won 6 championships. You're 2 of the greatest players of all time. How can you be so unhappy? Like, you're Scotty and Michael. Like, how can you be so unhappy?
But they're both alphas, right? So they're both guys that, like, they always want to make sure that everybody knows that they're the best. Like, even to this day, Michael Jordan still talks shit, like, as if he is the best currently today. Like, Michael Jordan is convinced in his brain that he can come on the court today and play the exact same way he played when he was 30 years old. He thinks
he could take LeBron one-on-one, and like, to be fair,
he probably
that
could
ego,
in the short duration, not like a full game, but maybe like a quarter or so. I can see it.
Nah, no, man.
He's
It's
60,
it's
man.
very different. Yeah, he's not. He doesn't. He plays golf every day. Like that's not.
He drinks every day.
He smokes
He
cigars
gambles
every
every day.
day. He
I mean, that
gambles
also
every
sounds
day.
like him when he was playing. So
The guy might have a heart attack 10 seconds into the game.
No, the thing, and I think that's the main difference, though, Terry, is that back then I feel like you need to be a superstar player. You needed to have this almost irrational ego, right? Where like the difference in the margin between Michael Jordan and the next guy was that he took it personally, right? Famously, like from the documentary. But I feel like now it's just a different generation. Players are like, well, I know that I'm great. Like I don't need to miss a game-winning shot. I'd rather move on to the next round than miss a shot and be the guy missing the shot. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
exactly.
And like I think if Durant had the choice, by the way, in the overtime, he wouldn't have made that. It wouldn't have tried to make that last shot. He kept trying to get the ball to Harris, who kept missing everything. So I mean, Durant took that shot because Kyrie and Harden were broken. You know what I mean? And Durant actually he's been making news again, and this is another way the superstar has changed. Jackie McMullen made a comment about how he expects to win 3 titles in Brooklyn, and he was quick to. And it's a very innocuous comment. Like it doesn't really mean anything. Everyone thinks they're going to win a championship, but he went back and said, "Listen, I don't know why these media members keep talking about us like we're friends. I never said that. I don't even talk that way." And like I'm inclined to believe the athlete in this case because the athlete. There's just a picture, just the Tweed Eagles. There's no video.
yeah, I know.
Jackie McMullen says Kevin Durant's genuine goal is to win 3 championships with the Nets. Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't he say that? Once again, I don't even talk like this. Plus, I don't have a relationship with Jackie for us to have in-depth conversations about my intentions as a basketball player. I get she plays an opinion-based sport, but she framed this like we are friends. We are not. Well, listen, Jackie McMullen is just.
She's an acceptable journalist. On the like before we go any further,
she's good. I like her on PTI usually, right? Like she's always on PTI. Like I like her. She knows the sport really well. Yeah, around the horn. I like her. She's really good. She knows the sport really well. I mean, for her to say that, it's probably paraphrasing from something that he had said. Maybe how long is his contract? Maybe he has 3 years left on his contract, which I think he does, right?
I think it's 1 or 2.
Okay, yeah. So maybe
LeBron they only signed for 1 or 2 years at a time because like. They don't want you to butcher the team around them in that time, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? No, it's smart that way. I mean, that's the bad thing about basketball. But, so maybe that's the amount of time that he has in Brooklyn, and he said he wants to win a championship every year. I don't know. But Kevin Durant is a fucking idiot. Like, he just doesn't know how to get out of his own way. I swear.
I like this better than the first version of Kevin Durant going at, like, using burner accounts to go after people. At least he's just putting his name to it, saying like, "Nope, I don't agree. Nope, sorry, that wasn't me."
But what don't you agree with? That she said you want to win 3 championships? Did you not say these words one time to a friend?
I think he's worn out by constantly dealing with the media, which I think is a difficult part of that job, right? Like,
if her comments were negative, I would understand, but they were not negative. They weren't positive. They were just matter of fact.
They're not. They weren't even positive. They don't mean anything.
It's like very matter of fact. Like, yeah, he wants to win 3 championships here. Oh, okay.
It's like saying, according to our reports, Terry and Pease want to have 3 bowls of mac and cheese in 1 week. Yeah, who wouldn't? Mac and cheese is fucking cheese.
Yeah, I mean, it depends where you get it from, but yeah. Have you ever had a bad a bowl of mac and cheese?
I usually make my own. I'm very particular.
Okay, this is where you and I are gonna have a fist fight. Okay, every time I say something good, you're like, "Yeah, well, I make it too." No, you don't, Peace. Okay,
I do. But there are some places where you get some good. I like the one, the Bowfinger, for example, local Montreal joint.
Bowfinger, are they still open?
I don't know post-pandemic. They were pre-pandemic.
I think the original one is still open. The one like behind the orange julep there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, the NDG one. Yeah, I think that one's still open. But the one they open on Park Avenue downtown, those ones are all. Yeah, they're all closed.
Yeah. But yeah. Good mac and cheese, to your point.
Very good.
There are good mac and cheeses out there. Go find them. The Tour de France.
Kraft makes a very good mac and cheese.
What? Sorry?
Kraft. They make an amazing mac and cheese.
Yeah, you know what? I'll smash that shit. No problem. I'll drop some hot dogs in there too. That's a Canada Day special.
Some bacon.
Yeah. You need some protein to top it
Add
off. I agree,
add cream
100%.
cheese. Add cream cheese in that
My
mac
mom
and
used to
cheese.
do it with carrots, so I got a little bit of vegetable in there too. I got the little hot dogs, I got the carrots, I got the cheese, and
You're
I
being
got
Mr.
the
Healthy.
carbs.
You take a scoop
This
of
this isn't about vegetables.
you take a scoop of cream cheese and you slap it in there. It makes it extra thick.
Mm,
I go
Thick.
I like
four
Three
cheese
cheese,
things.
C's.
4 cheeses. Um, Tour de France is underway. I can't believe we're talking about bicycle racing, but because something happened that is both terrifying and ridiculous and hilarious. So it's three things. Let's take a look as the race got off to a start on its first leg.
You can see that placard at the left-hand side of the road, Tony Martin just hits it. He comes off. His team come down behind him. It's just you can see that the lads at the side of the road.
Apparently that woman with the sign dislocated her collarbone.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, because these guys are moving fast, eh? Like, this isn't like a normal person on the bike.
Yeah.
He comes off. His team come down behind him.
No, but they're all that's at the beginning, right? So they're probably just going like 10 kilometers an hour at this point. But the thing is that they have a lot of power behind that. That's what makes it. And I don't know what that board was made out of. It's not made out of like regular cardboard where it would have like bent. But like, you're an idiot.
Yeah, but also those bikes are made out of like air, right? So like the smallest bump on the road, you like die.
And
like,
their feet are clipped in, right? So it's not easy to maneuver in a.
I have a bike where I'm clipped in also, and it's super light, and I'm a big boy, right? So when I'm rolling, I've fallen a couple times on those bikes. Like if traffic gets too close, like I panic and I just fucking fall backwards.
Yeah. The French authorities are searching for her, and it's said that she's fled the country. The authorities intend to sue her. For I don't really understand French law. So all I know about French law is I watched the Leo DiCaprio movie, the one
Catch Me If You Can.
Catch Me If You Can, and they talked about how terrible the French prison system is, and I was like, yo, the last place I want to be arrested in is France.
My brother's in France right now. We should call him and be like, okay, we have our journalist, our on-site beat reporter from Paris, Petro Tam. What do you think about the situation? And he'll be like, I don't really care.
Yeah, we should
it's the Tour de France and nobody gives a fuck about it.
We should do one thing further. We should actually get him to get arrested.
Yeah.
Report on whether or not the French prisons are really that bad.
Let's call him. Let's call him right now and be like, do us a favor. Do us a solid. Get arrested. Tell us what that girl would be like in prison. And let us know if Leonardo DiCaprio is a liar, because it's going to judge whether or not I watch his future movies.
Yeah. Already, he didn't even beat the bear. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's already
did he deserve the Oscar?
And he was a racist in Django.
Yeah.
He was a drug addict in Basketball Diaries. There's a lot of
he drowned in Titanic.
Yeah. I mean, he was just trying to be a gentleman, but a stupid gentleman. So, are you a gentleman if you're stupid? That door was bigger than my apartment.
I know. Also, though, you know that basically he was actually sent from the future. There's a theory that it's tied into the Terminator universe. Okay. And Rose would eventually give birth to John Connor's grandparents. And because he was wearing clothes that didn't fit for the time. And so people have made it that because James Cameron directed both movies, it's part of the Terminator universe. It was, dude, I recommend if you want to avoid working for a good 35 minutes, go down that rabbit hole. It's fun. I highly recommend.
This is what I hate about movie buffs, like movie fanatics. I love movies too. I'm a huge Tarantino guy. I'm probably not alone.
Nick Cage, my case, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Fast and Furious, love it all. But there's some people that look for hidden meanings when they're not there. Sometimes there's
it feels like English class sometimes, right? Where it's reading, it's like, oh, the author described the sky as blue. What do you think it meant? Oh, it was a reflection of their childbirth and all the struggles they went through as a woman growing up in a men's environment. No, the fucking sky's blue, goddammit.
Exactly.
So you don't well in English, right?
It's like Game of Thrones too.
Subject that he sucked at.
It's like Game of Thrones also. When Game of Thrones was going towards the last season, everybody had all these stories built out. Yeah, I remember in episode 1. First of all, they didn't know in episode 1 what they were going to talk about in season 8. There's no way. So don't try.
Martin didn't know how it was going to end.
Yeah, exactly. So people are coming up with all these fucking theories. This is the problem with movie buffs. That's the problem. Just enjoy the shit out of your 2-hour movie, suck my balls, and go home.
Coming back to this Tour de France accident that we just watched, do you think if any of those cyclists were on the juice, that they would have either predicted the sign or been able to navigate out of the way, or have been fast enough to dodge the sign and not get clipped by it?
First of all, Ego, your first mistake is assuming that none of them are on the juice when they're probably all on steroids.
It's one of the dirtiest sports ever.
It's the dirtiest sport.
Yeah. So no,
to the point, it's such a dirty sport to the point where a guy started a documentary. Well, he met up with a guy he wanted to test himself without the juice and on the juice, and he ended up revealing that the entire Russian Athletics Federation was dirty and they were cheating just by him wanting to cycle.
And then for the twist is he's the guy with the sign dressed up as a woman.
Yeah, that's it.
It's the revenge.
Yeah, and he pulls off the mask at the end and says, "And I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you kids and that damn dog."
I don't know what that's from, but
it's a Scooby-Doo reference.
Scooby-Doo, come on!
Every single episode.
I wasn't.
Did you not have a childhood?
I did, and I watched. I did not watch Scooby-Doo. I watched like Recess. I watched a lot of like One Saturday Morning, all that shit. I watched like a lot of like TV shows like Fresh Prince, Family Matters, Seinfeld, Friends. You know, that stuff.
Fair.
Sports, and I watched like way too much sports.
I was just raised by a television, so
okay.
You know, it was just here. My parents were like, "We're busy, do this."
Look at that screen over there.
That's
why your brother's as neurotic as he is right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Lamar Jackson looks like he's going to negotiate his own deal with the Ravens. A lot has been talked about. Here's Pat McAfee's reaction to that, and then we'll break that down right before we head to break, and then come back with rapid fire.
Fucking get it together, dude. All right?
Yes.
Lamar and his mom negotiating this deal with Baltimore. This is a big-time contract. It's going to be at least $100 and some million. The conversation revolves around, there's been very public statements, knowledge, it feels like, from the Ravens side that a deal is going to get done. It's going to be big. And I wondered why. And I'd forgot that Lamar and his mom were their business team. They want this to be good, public and private, huh? This is your quarterback. This is your quarterback's mom. This has to be handled much differently than whenever you're going through an agent with lawyer speak and burials, right? Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a good read on it because it's not, like if you're heading into a contract negotiation with your starting quarterback, powered agent, like Josh Allen's doing it with some of the guys from CAA, for instance, for Dak, it was with Todd France. I mean, agents a lot of times sort of act as the buffer for teams to players. So if you're really pissed off about some counteroffer, you scream at the agent, talk about why you're going to put him out of business or whatever you want to say, and then the player generally has no idea and the relationship is good. It is a little different with Lamar Jackson because it is his mom sort of acting as his business partner, business manager, which, of course, everybody went bananas about during the pre-draft process, and he still went in the first round and somehow was able to negotiate still his rookie deal. Not a ton of negotiation, but,
millions
still
of
they got it done.
Yeah, millions of dollars.
I mean, the money was set, but still, like, you got to make sure it's right. Lamar's seeing the same sort of eyebrows raised from the agent community and from players as well because his mother is doing it. It is a lot of pressure. It is unbelievably difficult. The stakes are incredibly high because if you lock yourself into a bad deal, you could be costing yourself tens of millions of dollars.
It has happened.
It has happened. And, we'll see which way it goes. I mean, it is going to be big, and the Ravens do very good deals often for the Ravens. So this is probably the one that is most fascinating of all the deals for me.
I don't think there's anything wrong with Lamar Jackson representing himself because he has like a name to himself. Like he's like the value to Lamar Jackson is like he has a high value. Like we know it. Yeah. But guys like Anthony Duclair in the NHL this year deciding to negotiate himself after he came off an all-star season, that's like a dumb thing because he sucks and he had a good season. And then, well, not that he sucks, but he's not as good as what...
Yeah, Anthony, come on the show.
Yeah.
So you don't suck.
I mean, I've been trying to get him on, but I don't think
in that case, you suck.
No, but the thing is about Anthony Duclair is that he probably lost like I think he lost like $1 million, $2 million just negotiating himself, and that's a shame because he had a great season and he was playing really well, and then when he changed teams, it was like, okay, well, you know, you need an agent to sell you. If you can't sell yourself, that's the problem. Lamar Jackson doesn't need to sell himself. He is Lamar Jackson. It's like Tom Brady doesn't need an agent. He can just walk into a room and they'll be like, "This is what we're offering you. Like, we know how good you are. This is the offer."
I think that the way the agent's role, especially in the NFL, was established at a time where contracts were not public. And so now, though, he can basically point to Patrick Mahomes and be like, okay, I know you're not going to give me that, but I'm the next guy. Like, so if it's
what if he wants Patrick Mahomes' money and his agent is like, you're not going to get it, and he's like, okay, well, fuck you, I want it.
That's also possible. And in the end, if he doesn't get that money and doesn't have to pay the commission, he might end up getting closer to what Pat Mahomes
that's a good point.
is making as well, right? So like, because 3 to 5% on like what's going to be a $400 million deal plus, that's a lot of money, right?
So I mean, a huge jump.
Even if instead of 400 he gets 390, like, okay, but he's still making more money than if he would have paid the agent. I think where the agent's really important is in negotiating endorsements, things where there isn't a cap, right? Where there's not, where it's an absolute free market and going out and getting opportunities. Here, the opportunity is you're restricted free agent. It's the Ravens, or you got to find a way to get out of there and work with the team to get out of there. But if you want to resign, then basically there's a market of one. Why would you need an agent for that?
Exactly. I mean, listen, I hope he gets the value that he deserves because he's an excellent player. And like Rapport said, if Baltimore Ravens if it's always a team friendly deal, then he's not going to get what he wants. Like Lamar, when you're an athlete and you decide to not go for an agent, then you're just saying like, nobody thinks I'm worth as much as I think I am, and that might be a problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
He might have to hold out because I don't think the Ravens are going to pay him Pat Mahomes money if he's asking for that.
I think he's gonna end up settling on something slightly below that. But like that's the deal that set the market, right?
I mean, listen, he's probably like a little bit north. He's north of Dak Prescott money, and he's very south of Mahomes money. I feel. You know what I mean? Like we haven't seen Lamar Jackson perform to the level of Mahomes, and we've seen him. You know, I mean, he's a different style quarterback than Dak Prescott is, but he's kind of at that level. You know, where he's needed, but he's not necessarily. It's not worth paying him that much money when they need to support him.
At any time, there's two generational talents in the league, like in terms of, let's say, like Manning and Brady, and now it's Mahomes and Brady.
Is Manning a
Brady? It's always Brady plus somebody else.
Oh no, are they generational talents? Like they're generational. Like they have like it's. I don't think they're super talented, is what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't think that Brady and Manning are talented. I think that they have a crazy work ethic. They have a crazy work ethic. They know how to win. They know how to prepare. They're very well prepared. Mahomes and Lamar Jackson are talented.
That's part of what makes them incredible is the focus to be able to execute on that preparation.
But is that talent?
Absolutely, it's talent.
I don't think
it's part of the fact.
No, I don't think that's talent. I think I measure talent by ability. Like if I look at like you have a natural born talent, like that's something like you have a natural born talent of speaking.
But everyone
you're
in
a
the
good
NFL
speaker.
has a natural born talent. They're the best of the best.
Exactly, but now we're talking about generational talents. Like
I think what separates them is having the discipline, the focus, and the ability to translate that preparation at that next step. And you know. The thing is, like, I look at the two guys I look at in my lifetime as just being like absurdly gifted as Dan Marino and Pat Mahomes, that they can just make these throws that in years previous to their existence, we didn't even know those throws were possible.
So what I'm trying to say is I don't think that Tom Brady is any different than anybody else other than how hard he worked when he got there. That's all I'm saying. And the same thing with Manning.
No, but like, so for example, like, Shaq was known for shooting like 90% from the free throw line in practice. He wouldn't miss.
Yeah.
And in the game, his whole form would break down because shooting in the game versus shooting in practice. Like, it's not that Shaq didn't work. Like, the guy worked really hard at shooting. He just never got better because there was an ability to focus, an ability to sort of block out the noise and succeed in those moments. And that is sort of like,
it is a talent.
That's the margin, right? The margin is, can you execute the things you prepared for? Because
is it a talent? is it a talent? I don't think that has. I don't think being big and being super athletic, like Shaq is necessarily a generational thing. I think that he was just the first of many, and he became. I mean, listen, I think Shaq is the most dominating offensive player in the history of the NBA. Like that's just the way I see it. I don't think he's the best, obviously. I just think he's the most dominant at one position and possibly sports. Like realistically, I think so. But I'm saying so that I could consider that more of a generational thing than if I look at Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and I say, okay, Peyton Manning doesn't have like a really strong arm, neither does Tom Brady. They're not like super accurate. They just make really good reads.
Tom Brady is really accurate. Like the timing, the ball comes out, hits the mark.
Exactly. But it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that to start. Like if I look at Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, and Aaron Rodgers. He's more of a generational talent than Tom Brady is to me, because I look at Aaron Rodgers. He's got the arm. I guess, but he's got.
Matter. Like they're all at the top of like the guys we're all talking about. So like, here's the thing: you say Aaron Rodgers is better, okay?
No, I'm not saying better.
Tom Brady's better, okay? Like it doesn't actually like it's all about there, right? Sorry,
but I'm not saying he's better. I'm just saying it's like if I look at the intangibles.
Okay, but you're looking at just God-given talent.
No, I'm just looking. If I look at the intangible, God-given talent, I guess. If I look at the intangibles,
I think there's a mental fortitude, mental toughness, and like like a lot of times in solo sports, like swimming, for example, is a lot of that where guys have times when they're practicing and can't get those times in competition, and it's hard to focus when there's that much pressure.
Yeah,
some people are able to push through that, and it's a different kind of talent. It's not physical ability necessarily, but I think there is something to be said about sort of that mental makeup. We'll talk to someone with the strangest mental makeup we've ever met when we come back. We're going to take a quick break, and when we're back, we'll be rejoined by Mokan. And we're back, I think. Eagle stopped counting, and I wasn't counting at all.
That's how this works. I count, and then I stop counting, and then you start talking.
Yeah, that's what I did. So, hey Mo, how's it going? Joins us, Not Sauce for Work on the Hot Sauce Sports Network. Mo, we brought you on today because, as you know, the Montreal Canadiens are in the Stanley Cup Finals. We're down 1-0, but we were down 1-0 against Vegas. It didn't look good. My impression watching the game was when I saw them go down 0-1 to Vegas, it felt like Montreal at least punched them in the mouth first period, and then Vegas sort of got away with it. This game here didn't feel like that at all. It felt really almost like a cat playing with its prey. I don't know if it felt that way to you, but that's how it felt to me. What are your thoughts?
Well, when you look at the Nick Suzuki line with Caulfield and Toffoli, they went a -9 in the game. Yes, on game one, I beg your pardon. Your best line or your best trio of threats couldn't do much, and they took out Caulfield in that hockey game yesterday, guys. They made him neutral, and I think in this whole scenario of what they're going up against now, no, I'm not saying that Tampa is the ultimate god here, but they have a lot more depth to work with where they can make their adjustments. And John Cooper had a fantastic game plan that he employed that worked to near perfection for the Bolts in their win over the Habs. And you wonder now for Luke Richardson and Dom Ducharme, whenever he comes back, what their game plan will be for game two. And guys, when you look at this body of history for the Habs so far in the playoffs, they've always taken one game, at least one game in the first two matchups away from the Bell Center. Can they even up this series going back to Montreal for 3 and 4? If they don't, it's a real tall mountain to climb for them heading back to Montreal.
The thing is that I'm not worried. Like even as we've done live streams and we've all been like we've become like a Habs network kind of thing, right? And I'm not even worried when it comes to this. Like if Ducharme comes back, which I think you said Mo he is that if Ducharme comes back, I don't know if it's a positive. You know what I mean? Because they've been playing so well with Luke Richardson, and even last night. I mean, up until Sherrod's like stupid play where he tried to knock it out of the crease. Like, are we talking about a 5-1 game? I think it's a completely different game if that puck doesn't go in. So I'm really not worried. I think the Habs will do fine, and I still think they're going to win the series.
Well, I think, Terry, look, they have a puncher's chance, right? Because you guys know sports very well. Whenever you make the finals of any league, there's no guarantee you'll do it again.
Yeah,
it might be a one and done, right? So
it's 93, Mo, right?
Like that's it, right? Right, that's exactly it. Because when you think about it, in the Final Four of this year's conference finals, the Islanders and Canadians had the longest droughts for Eastern Conference or old school Wales Conference teams to not make the Cup final. The Habs now finally breaking that drought. But the thing is, they're all in, right? They can't say, look, if we lose in 5, we'll come back next year. There's no guarantee of that because, guys, when the Habs go back to the regular divisional format, they might be the 5th best team in that division behind Boston, Toronto, Tampa, Florida, and then maybe Montreal. And so I think
Ottawa's an up-and-coming
they're
team
closing
too.
in. Ottawa's looking good for their youth, right? And I think the key for this team, guys, for Game 2 tomorrow, which we've seen against Vegas and we saw against the Jets and even Toronto to an extent, they got to get that first goal and they got to tone down the crowd in the first 10 minutes and weather that storm, no pun intended, towards the Lightning nickname. So if they get that first goal and if they can get Carey Price a 2-goal buffer, that's like a starting pitcher that's going to close out the game and go full 9 and get you 10 strikeouts and winning that game easy.
Mo, the 2 big stories going into this whole series were the goaltending and the man advantages, right? So the Tampa power play versus the Montreal penalty kill. And in both cases, I don't think Montreal really stood up to that whole storyline from what I was seeing. Like the Tampa power play looked aggressive. Our penalty kill looked very lost. And Price, I mean, he stood on his head, but Vasilevsky also like killed him in terms of trying to keep him in the game.
Yeah, Eagle, I think when you look at how Price and Vasilevsky played, they're now, look, if you do a top 5 NHL goaltending list, they're in the top 5, right? Vasilevsky has done his due justice to what he's done for his body of work. I think when it comes down to it, though, this Habs PK has been phenomenal. And we go back, guys, to Game 1. Remember Terry and Pease and Eagle, how many shorthanded goals did they have in the first 10 games? I think like 6 or 7, right?
Yeah.
And then when they had that slump, they couldn't get those shorthanded goals during the midseason slump of theirs. And then they came back in the playoffs with a couple of key goals by Byron and stuff. So I think for them, keep it simple because, look, that Tampa power play is unbelievable. They can go 10 deep on you with their 2 power play units that they have. You just can't overdo it with this team because they'll expose you for what you have. And I think what we saw from Tampa in round 1 against Florida and right up until now, they just have that firepower. And if they keep it simple moving towards Game 2, they'll be okay. But again, this Tampa team, guys, they can roll 4 lines. If lines 1 and 2 aren't clicking and 3 and 4 come through, that's fine for them. Whereas for Montreal, guys, they need all 4 lines playing great in a single game and can't have one line fail as it did for them on Game 1.
So the thing is with the Habs is that what they did well in the first 3 series against Vegas, the Jets, and the Leafs is that they were able to get the puck behind the defenseman. Now we're talking about 6D on the Lightning that are much more superior than the shit that they have in the Leafs, the banged up D that they have in the Jets, and then the good defensive team that they had in Vegas. But realistically, is that the Lightning defense from 1 to 6, they can crack any top 2 pairing in any team in the NHL, and that's the problem right now. How many goals did the Habs score just off breaks with speed and things like that? But these defensemen are so fucking smart that they're picking up on it right away. They're not going to let Caulfield, a little 19-year-old kid, skate around them and go right to the net. That's not going to happen against the Lightning. So they need to figure out a way, get back, and stop playing the Lightning style of play. Like, you're not going to out physical them. That's another thing too. Is like they're trying to play hard with them and they're trying to play physical with them, but realistically, they need to stick to their own game. Possession, get the fucking puck in deep, hockey cliche, and end it there.
And to your point, Terry, like if you do get past that defense, Montreal also doesn't face the goaltender like Vasilevsky.
No, because if he's not better, he's just as good, if not better than Price. Like that's
that being said, Fleury
equal,
just
right?
won the Vezina.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's an argument to be made that yes, they did face a good goalie, but I digress.
Right, and look, Terry, you bring up a good point because what did Tampa do yesterday, right? They mauled the Canadians physically, and the Habs didn't know what to do. They short-circuited saying, well, what do? They put on the handbrake on themselves, the Canadians, and said, look, we're going to play their style, and guess what? We'll adapt. Well, no, you have to play your style of game. That's what Montreal did. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. The first period was nerves. Like, you can tell they were super nervous. Second period, they calmed down and they played really well. Like, the second period was a very good period. And then the third period, you just kind of saw, like, they just couldn't figure it out. And the adjustments that the Lightning made were much more. And to Eagles' point, the Habs did play against Hellebuck, who is the Vezina Trophy this year. So.
Right, and Hellebuck had a tough go in that 4-game loss. But again, guys, when you think about how Tampa is built, right?
So that's not what Eagle did. Eagle was kind of a dick. He brought up something that broke 3 minutes ago that we didn't see because we're on the show, that Marc-Andre Fleury won the Vezina.
Well, they're announcing it today, yeah.
And Hellebuck won the Vezina last year, right?
Yeah.
Or Vasilevsky won last year.
I think Hellebuck won the last year.
I think Hellebuck might have won last year, and he plays for the Jets, so.
Yeah, exactly.
See how he did that breaking news into a little like non sequitur type of comment there? Perfect.
Sure. Mo, I saw you mentioned, of course, Collins coaching um, the Team Canada, and he's coaching Tampa Bay. And the meme came out today that he'd do fine because Team Canada also won't have a salary cap. Gary Bettman, he has come under fire, and his response was he saw no problem with Tampa Bay being nearly $20 million over the salary cap. I know Montreal is a touch over the salary cap as well, but what's your reaction to hearing what Bettman had to say?
It's cool. I'm cool with it because
it's the rule.
Yeah, it's a rule. And Kucherov suffered a bad injury at the end of last season. Think about it, guys, right? Season ended when? Late September, early October, right? When Tampa won the Cup. Mm-hmm. Kucherov has a hip injury. It's not like you have like a scratch in your arm. This is a serious injury that requires long-term rehab, which he went through. And guess what? Julien Brisebois, who was a capologist by trade, realized, look, we have this cap space, free money we can use to acquire more depth to work with. And guess what? By the time we hit playoffs, the cap is absolved. We go out there with what we have, and they worked it to perfection because, again, guys, we go back to how Tampa is. They have 4 lines of quality, right? This is something where if Montreal had Kucherov and he went down, they're in serious trouble because they don't have that depth like Tampa does. Mm-hmm. And if people are going to be critical of Tampa for what they employed with and went with their project of, hey, Kucherov, you're out for the year, no problem, we'll get you back for April and beyond, don't blame them. They did it perfectly, and guess what? They've developed their talent to be where they are, being a perennial contender for the Cup in the last 4 or 5 years.
Do I like that rule? No, but the thing is when Chicago did it and the entire league was going after them, Tampa Bay wasn't a team that was against the rule. They weren't a team that was for the rule. They were against the rule, just like most teams.
They formally to change the rule.
Think about it, guys.
There's nothing wrong with them taking advantage of.
No, of course not.
I mean, it is what it is.
Well, think about it. Let's say Price and Weber goes down for the Canadians, right? You save how much money off the cap. For that regular season, right? And that becomes free money. And guess what? You can go get yourself a bona fide defenseman or maybe another goaltender, and then come playoff time, well, cap is out the window because we're going to go with our best on best. That's how they did it, and they played it well. That's all. Don't blame them.
And I don't hate the rule. I think that it should be changed to a certain extent. I mean, it's because there was all these rumors that Kucherov was healthy 2 weeks before,
he was skating
the season ended.
He got special permission from the league. To me, that's the bigger story. He got special permission from the league to violate the cap rules because theoretically, if you're on IR, you're not allowed to skate with the team.
You skate independently with a trainer or on your own.
He was actually practicing with the team for about 2 weeks before the playoffs. Theoretically, that put them in violation of the cap. But the team and he got special permission. I don't know if it's due to COVID rules. I also am not as familiar with the hockey CBA as I am with, let's say, basketball or football. So I don't know exactly the manifestations and the ways it works in those windows. But to me, that would have been a more interesting thing to look at. And I didn't really see anybody discussing that story.
My roommate just walked in.
Is she going to cancel us out now or what?
No, not yet.
Soon enough, though. But Kucherov's a talent. If people are going to hate on Tampa, so be it. But guys, guess what? It adds another storyline to the idea that Tampa's become the villains of the NHL. That's what you want. Why does the NFL and NBA succeed so much, right? The Lakers, Cowboys are must-see TV of love or hate of that franchise because you want to see them succeed or fail. And that's what the NHL needs with a Tampa Bay where they can say, look, I'm going to come watch this team and see maybe the Habs pull off the upset or see them become a potential dynasty for who knows how long, 3-4 more years.
There you go.
Mo.
Go Habs, go.
Mo Khan joins us, by the way, of TSN 690 and newly appointed weatherman at CTV. You know that if you're getting your weather from Mo, it's the best weather. All the other weather is trash weather.
Well, no, actually, because I confirmed with Mo a couple weeks ago about my golf day, like I mentioned earlier on in the show, and Mo was wrong. He said it was going to rain and everything, and then I started playing. Wasn't a cloud in the sky. So Mo, I'm asking you seriously right now. I'm scheduled to play golf tomorrow and Thursday. What am I looking?
Let me look at my app. I'll go look at my app right now. I'll try to see what's going on.
The standards of meteorologists on TV stations has gone down, right? They have the sports beats guy doing weather now. You don't really have the weather understanding, do you?
This is like the equivalent of the Lakers, right? When under Kobe, right? Yeah. When they won the titles in 2010 and whatever. And then they went on a playoff droughtless run of 6-7 years in a row, not doing anything, and became a terrible team, ended up being a top 3 NBA draft pick. That's what CTV's become. They brought me in to become a top 3 pick for weather here. So
Oh, I thought you were saying a drought in that it wasn't going to rain. I thought you were trying to save Terry's
no,
golf.
No, he's not clever enough for that.
No, well, like Terry, what I can tell you from the early forecasts, I'm doing weather on Canada Day. It's supposed to rain at some point towards the end of the week. That's all I can tell you.
All right.
It's a satellite forecast, man. We see the clouds roll in. We see what it is.
Is it true that the forecasts have been last year the forecasts were like wrong 99% of the time? And is it true it's because there aren't enough planes flying, and that's how usually forecasts are generated?
It depends on from what I've learned in the crash course of learning weather in the last month. It's a jet stream, the low pressure coming in from the north, and the high pressure coming in from the south. But look, I called it correctly on the weekend. It was rain on Saturday, and we mix of sun on Sunday, and it was supposed to rain at some point today. Never happened.
Yeah.
So maybe it comes tomorrow.
I got stuck in 4 minutes of rain. I was wearing suede sneakers, and it was very disappointing to me.
That's because God was punishing you for wearing green suede sneakers.
Hey, those sneakers are fly. Mo, my question to you
is
France had a strategy coming in to this Euro, and that strategy they lost. And the strategy, as it turns out, was that they had a strict ban for no sex for the entire team for this Euro tournament. I'm a believer you need to milk the racehorse before the game. Terry and I have gone back and forth on this on countless episodes. What are your thoughts? Do you think that was a mistake by the French? Do you think that's why they lost?
Well, perhaps Didier Deschamps will lose his job because of that, right? I mean, no, France. They're a weird team. I mean, Terry, you follow close enough. They're a weird team because they had a lot of firepower, but their biggest weakness was their back line, their defensive line. That was a perceived weakness, and they got exposed by Switzerland yesterday. And for whatever reason, Didier Deschamps went with a 3-man back. Well, I don't know why. He went from his traditional having 4-4-2 to 3-4-3. And it backfired. And then they made their adjustments, and they had that 3-1 lead, and then they kind of soaked in the pressure. And then next thing you know, it's 3-2, then 3-3, and they lose in PK. And I think this French team has immense talent to work with. I think they still will be a contender for 2022 in Qatar for the World Cup.
Yeah.
But this was a chance where they could have perhaps set themselves up to become how they were in the late 90s and 2000 when they won the World Cup and Euro Cup in the following successive tournaments that it was. But I think there's a lot of question marks, and they have to figure out their back line because going to next year's 2022 for Qatar, that back line has got to be a lot stable than what they showed. And I don't blame Kylian Mbappe in the front line. They played as well as they could, but they got to figure out their back line moving forward.
A few things there. One, Pease, we spoke to Corey Kennedy about this already. Corey Kennedy, athletic trainer for the Chicago Cubs. He told us that if anything, releasing some fluids would benefit you because you generate testosterone when you're replenishing the fluids in your nutsack. So I think that Didier Deschamps should be fired solely on that reason that he didn't allow his players to have sex.
Right?
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, analytics, sabermetrics, analytics, all that shit.
Semen metrics in this case.
Semen metrics. He can't figure it out. Didier Deschamps needs to figure out.
Plus,
let the boys play.
If he had rubbed one out, maybe he would have realized in the moment of clarity that his strategy was bad.
There we go.
Well, hold on, guys. Let's think about it though.
Clarity.
Did he apply this strategy in 2018 when they won the World Cup?
That's a good question. I don't know. We have to look into this. My brother's in France right now.
I saw that. I saw his tweet. I'm like, what's going on here? Why is he in France?
Because his girlfriend's from France, and they have a newborn, right? So she wanted the baby to meet the family. So she's on mat leave. They took advantage of it. So he's in France right now. He's already going to get arrested, so we can test out the prison systems. So now all we have to do is maybe he could break into Didier Deschamps' house and put him hostage, and that's how he's going to get to prison. 2 for 1.
There we go. 2 for 1. 2 for 1. Yeah. That's the way to do it.
A very well detailed plan. I see.
If you're going to get arrested, get arrested for 2 crimes. That's what I always say.
Flawless plan, Mo.
Mo, who do you think? Who do you think's winning the Euro?
Well, Plan A is out the window with France. I mean, I thought they would have had a chance to go.
I was surprised to see them lose.
Yeah. Well, especially in the round of 16, I thought maybe if they were going to lose, it'd be somewhere in the round of 8 or semifinal to Italy. I have Italy going. I think they're going to do it. I think the Italians have. People are saying, "Well, you're wrong." I go, look, the Italians have such a clear path now with the French out the window. that you're going up against a Belgium squad that's banged up with De Bruyne and Eden Hazard both being hurt for Friday's game. Who knows how healthy they'll be for the clash? If they get past Belgium, I think they can get by Spain, no question. Look, whether they play England, Denmark's, Ukraine, the powerhouse that they are, or whoever they have next, Czech Republic, I think it's setting up well for Italy to make that potential run to win a Euro and get that star on their chest for years to come.
With all these, sorry, please go.
Well, I was going to say, as much as I'm excited and hope Italy wins because it's my family's lineage, I'm actually a little worried because Chris Johnson Galvez from our show, Healthy Scratch, he's a Leafs fan.
Lost nothing.
Lost to the Habs, and then if Italy beats Spain, I think he's just gonna punch me in the face. Like there's no other way about it.
One thing about Christian, he's probably the most angry human being of all time. Two, he knows absolutely nothing. He's so mad. He's so mad all the time.
Only about
it's going to be fascinating. Again, like Belgium's banged up, Spain's unpredictable. I think Italy's the more stable team at this point. And look, we saw what happened against Austria, right? They had to win ugly to get to this point, and the great teams always do it. You can't win pretty all the time. You have to have those ugly games in between those runs that they have.
Upset of the tournament, Mo. You're not going to like this, but I think Ukraine's going to beat England. I'm putting my money on it.
Anyway, Pease, great soccer analysis, by the way.
Plus 700.
There we go.
Plus 700.
Let's get into rapid fire. Mo Khan will join us because we trust him enough to do rapid fire with us. That's the only reason. We love Mo and we trust him. That's all.
Harry Kane, is Harry Kane gonna do it? Like the guy's fucking brutal. Like probably the most overrated player. Harry Kane, Griezmann, two of the most overrated players I've ever seen in my life.
Jesus, they got heavy real fast.
Yeah, that really turned. Mo's turned dark. I was like, oh boy.
Mo's offended. He's like, you taking shots at me? Taking shots at my people?
Well, I don't care for Harry Kane as a Spurs player, but as an England national, it's a bit different.
Before we get into rapid fire, Terry, is there any sports that you're going to lose money on tonight?
I mean, if I took Mo's, I went full Greece on this one. So it's 50-46 going into the half for Greece. And I don't know why. They're still underdogs. So I'm going to continue playing that line until the end. But I probably will lose some money on baseball tonight. Definitely. Yeah.
And where will you be doing that?
Oh, on baseball, I will be making money on Hot Streak Fantasy with basketball. That's a guarantee. I'm guaranteed to become a millionaire by using Hot Streak Fantasy. If you don't know
I did well last night. On Hot Streak.
Yeah. You got to do it. Hot Streak Fantasy, use Hot Sauce promo code. They'll match your bonus. They'll match your initial deposit as a bonus. I did it. Pease did it. All the Hot Sauce guys did it. We're making millions of dollars on Hot Streak Fantasy just by $5 to $10 bets. It's the best fantasy.
Look at Peasy's background. He's got those $1 million guitars behind.
Exactly.
How do you get paid for them? How do they get paid for them?
How do you think I afforded this art?
Yeah, that corner is perfect, man.
Yeah, it's so symmetrical.
Tried to sell the art after his losses, but now he's back up, so we'll get art back there soon. But no, it's
art is objective.
I had a art is subjective. I think is what you meant to say.
I can see Eagle's reaction right now. Like, you know when Eagle gets annoyed, his eyes start to wince, and he does this like no look, like.
Art is objective. I'm gonna make a T-shirt. Art
yeah,
is objective.
I'll wear that. I will absolutely wear that T-shirt.
I will definitely make that shirt.
Eagle right now is like this.
Yeah, Mo, you should download this app so you can get some money to afford a haircut.
Oh, well, dude, what do we do, man? Like I was outside in the wind all day. It's windy.
The wind makes your hair just fucking stay up.
Yeah.
It doesn't do that for me.
Yeah.
Vanilla Ice is his hair.
All right, first topic for today on the PK. PK Subban has recently joined. I think is it ESPN? Is it TNT?
Yeah,
one
ESPN.
of them? As a hockey player turned analyst, but he's also very much a rookie broadcaster when it comes to this. So this is his analysis of who he thinks is going to win the Stanley Cup Finals.
Who do I like? Who do I favor in the Stanley Cup Final? First of all, the defending Stanley Cup champions are back in the Stanley Cup Final. They seem to be clicking on all cylinders, but across from that, you have the Montreal Canadiens led by Carey Price, Hall of Fame goaltender, in my opinion, he is going to be. And when he's playing as well as he's playing, anything is possible. And we see the city of Montreal, the way they're responding, the energy there, the city that I love so much is ready for another Stanley Cup. Will he do it? Can he bring it? He's going to need the help of Cole Caulfield.
I'm pausing here just because he called him Cole Caulfield in another segment that he did. So he has to specifically explain it here.
I would order Cole Caulfield off any menu, anytime.
Oh yeah,
The
definitely.
young group, Nick Suzuki, sprinkled in with some veterans in Montreal to continue to be playing that game that they're playing. Now, it's interesting in the Stanley Cup final. You have two teams that play similar styles, fast-paced game, puck control. They got some youth, ton of skill and ton of talent. But in my opinion, it's going to be in net. Goaltending. Can Carey Price maintain that Hall of Fame level of play that he's shown all season, all career long, and all through this playoffs? And can Vasilevsky once again show that he now is ready to take over the NHL as the #1 goaltender? It all remains to be seen. I think health. Nikita Kucherov, a little banged up, but we've seen what Tampa's been able to do when facing adversity. They show it time in and time again that they are Stanley Cup champions and they're ready to repeat. Will they repeat? I'm not sure. Are they my pick? I'm not sure. But I can tell you this, it's going to be one hell of a series.
Okay, so I agree with PK.
I'm not sure what he said.
Rich,
I'm not
sorry.
sure what he said.
Hey, you know what? PK's great though. PK's great on the mic. He's got a great voice, and it's just a little. It's hard for him to not pick. He doesn't want to not pick Montreal because he said it's the city that he loves. He's obviously going for Tampa Bay. It's obvious.
So just pick Montreal. Nobody cares if you're wrong.
Yeah,
no
like,
one's
what
gonna
happens?
remember what you said. You said nothing for 90 seconds. That's the longest time. Like I wanted to like superimpose it with a clip at one point where he just carried the puck for 90 seconds.
Yeah.
I think that might have also happened in his career.
And then he didn't do anything with it.
Yeah, it just like
he just passed it, or he just like dumped it in and made a change. You know.
Well, I think like he will eventually land in ESPN, and this is his first step where they will groom him. They've done it with other former or current who became former athletes, and Vince Carter and others. That he will become eventually one of the key ESPN hockey guys because they do have a 7-year deal with the NHL, and who knows how long Subban will last.
Yeah, he'll probably play another I don't know how long he has left on his contract, but he'll probably play for another 3, 4, 5 years. But he's great. PK Subban's going to be great at this. Like he's built for this.
I think he will be. He just eventually needs to say a thing, just one thing.
Make a pick.
You notice he didn't say Shea Weber's name in that whole process.
Oh, it's true. It's true, Mokan. Look at you.
And other veterans is what he said. Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't say Shea Weber or Brendan Gallagher's name.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a very good point.
Didn't say those names.
All right. Brady, you can drive my car. The Bleacher Report has recently brought forth a rumor when Tom Brady was looking for a new team. He apparently said, "You're going to stick with that motherfucker," referring to a unknown team. And it seems like they figured out that they're referring to Derek Carr and the Las Vegas Raiders.
I don't know why it would be Derek Carr, though. Like, why would he be so upset about not going to Oakland? Like, I thought it was Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, Vegas.
Well, Jimmy G, he sat with Jimmy G, right? Because Don Yee, the agent for Brady and Garoppolo and the whole nine. But even Terry, I told you in the text in a joke, right, saying, "Hey, it's probably Derek Carr, LOL." Yeah. And when you think about it, guys, if you go back and trace the timeline of how Tom Brady was kind of going through the process of free agency, the Raiders were up there. Let's not forget, Mark Davis and Tom Brady had a little powwow at a UFC event before COVID-19 rocked the world. And people thought that would be a perfect fit because new stadium, Vegas is not far away from LA, and we know that he has more business in LA than before, that he would fit in well with what the Raiders wanted to build. And let's not forget, guys, he's a Bay Area kid, not saying he grew up as a Raider fan, but he's very familiar with the history and tradition of the Las Vegas or then Oakland Raiders. So I'm not surprised by what he said. And look, Tom Brady is a free man. He's not under the Bill Belichick regime of, hey.
Fuck he wants.
Yeah, he says what he wants.
Well, first of all, I love this new Tom Brady. He went from my most hated player in the NFL to my favorite, just with how much he's been talking recently. But as a Raiders fan, well, you're probably
striking Raiders fan.
Sorry, what?
Fan. Striking Raider fan.
Striking. So you're both Montreal's most famous Raiders fan and Montreal's most famous striking Raiders fan.
I'll take the latter.
My brother also.
How would you have felt though if they got Tom Brady to replace who is statistically the Raiders' greatest quarterback in Derek Carr?
Well, look at Derek Carr's win-loss record. I think he's like 47-63. I mean, that says
their greatest quarterback. So.
Yeah, no, you're right. It doesn't say much
about
the Raiders.
Stat, Mo. Wins
yeah, I know, but
wins
it doesn't say much about the Raiders, right? In the history of quarterbacks that they've had, Kent Stabler probably being the greatest of them all. But
Rich Gannon, bro.
Well, Gannon had a 2-year run, right? I mean, 2-3-year run of dominance.
That's how bad the Raiders quarterbacks have been.
No, you're right. It's been a bad. Jamarcus Russell is a classic, right? I mean, don't you remember the Kirk Morrison story about him in the DVD?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, hey, watch the practice film. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Did you watch it? Yeah, of course. There's nothing in the
It was
box.
empty on it.
Yeah.
It was empty. It was an empty
It was
day.
empty.
George?
It's the best story ever.
Jeff George, anyway. Bobby Hoyne, we can go through the whole list. But anyway, like I think Brady, like the Raider franchise had Brady
Mark
come to the team.
Tuiasosopo.
Marquise Tuiasosopo.
Yeah.
I think he's a coach now at California University, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, the point is this, though. It's a what if, right? Because the Raiders last year, had they brought in Brady, they weren't going to bring Antonio Brown back, and he brought him to Tampa. Gronk probably wouldn't have come because they have Darren Waller. Raiders probably win a few more games, but probably aren't winning a ring for Tom Brady. Whereas he goes to Tampa, a much better situation overall with what they have from a talent perspective, and that he and Bruce Arians saw things in the same view than where he was with Bill Belichick in the last couple of years in New England.
Tampa was like a perfect fit. At first, it didn't look like it, but as the season went on, you're like, okay, this just works.
Of course.
Figuring it out. Yeah.
There were, however, John Gruden's comments about Tom Brady where he said, I like that guy, man.
Also, a double whammy on this one. Besides winning a Super Bowl for Tampa, he doesn't win one for Vegas and pisses off Mo, so I am pleased.
Even better.
Swiss Bliss. During the Euro Cup, we've seen the cameras panning throughout the crowd since there's so much downtime in between whistles. And so we happened to see a little bit of footage of a Swiss fan celebrating their victory over France. This is probably the best thing you're ever going to see.
The music. I love it.
I saw that.
That guy's gonna be a meme for the rest of his life. Like,
and he'll make money off of that, right? He'll become a legend in Switzerland's soccer history for doing that.
You think he'll make money on that?
Well, yeah. Think about it, right? I mean, you just beat a power, a long-term nemesis of yours, Switzerland and France, from the years they played soccer. Sure. And that moment where they were down 3-1 was that first reaction, and when they tied it up, it was 3-3.
Yeah, but so how can he monetize his reaction?
Because he's going to be on TV
NFTs,
shows.
NFTs, my friend.
Yeah.
I talk to Jenny about it.
Yeah.
That's true.
Oh, yeah, maybe we can NFT this bitch.
Yeah.
So. And, longtime enemies in terms of who makes the better cheese, France or Switzerland. I have to say, I worked in Switzerland for a very short period of time, and of all the people I met, no one was like that dude. That dude is a gem for that country. Those people are so nice and kind and reserved.
So boring. Missionary position
that's essentially what I was saying, yeah. But man, by comparison, this dude, he's a gem.
And gem among the crown jewels.
Next, some CH bites. Montreal's famous bagel place, St. Viator's, has recently joined in the Stanley Cup mania by making bagels in the shape of the Canadiens logo. Pease, you're from a cooking school. Thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, I'm going to start by saying, I've said it before, Montreal bagels, smoke New York bagels. New York bagels are basically tire fire. So even in this ridiculous shape, we still have better bagels. That's all I got in it, Eagle. I'm always going to keep up for Montreal bagels.
There's always that notion about New York bagels being great. I've never tasted a New York bagel. I think it will never equal to the level of what Montreal bagels are. Montreal bagels are a gem among the crown jewels of the bagel world.
Yeah, this guy.
The thing about New York bagels is that they're good, but they're just like kind of like just a little bit too dry. Like where Montreal bagels, you bite into them and they're soft. They got a lot of flavor the entire time.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Terry. Like as a fellow foodie, like you can take a Montreal bagel with nothing on it and absolutely enjoy it.
Oh yeah, I do it all the time. You know my midnight. I used to work at a radio station by St. Viator Bagel. At midnight when I was done, I'd walk over to St. Viator Bagel. I'd get 6 bagels and a dip, and I'd sit on the sidewalk, and that's what I would eat: 6 bagels and a dip.
Quite the exciting times with Terry Tam.
And now ask me how I gained 40 pounds. No idea.
Oh, poutine, right? When you went on the poutine,
it was that same year. I just said YOLO, fuck it. That's all I'm gonna do.
We'll put on poutine pounds.
And our last story, not sports related, but definitely a big cornerstone in the history of the world. Fast Furious 9 has been released, and it is the highest grossing movie since the beginning of the pandemic. Vin Diesel's response to the whole thing is that cinema is back, and clearly you can't have cinema without family.
Yeah, that's true. Because
the thing about the Fast and Furious movies... is that they're always very, how do I say this, relevant. everything that happens in there is factual. Like everything, like it's never blown out of proportion. It's never exaggerated. Like I can really picture me being in a car, jumping off of it while it's attached to a helicopter, and just throwing myself off it. I can picture that.
With missiles trailing you in behind. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
My favorite
running on a train the other way.
My favorite moment, I believe, was in Fast 6, where a torpedo comes through the ice because it was launched from a submarine that was under the ice, and then the Rock picks it up and throws it at a tank, and then the tank explodes. They are my favorite movies. It's amazing. Vin Diesel's right. Cinema is back. We've had great movies in the past. We've had Citizen Kane. We've had Casablanca. We've had The Godfather. And none of those matter anymore because Fast 9 goes to space.
There's a prequel for The Sopranos coming out in October.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. On HBO, no?
Yeah, I think it's going to be in theaters also, but HBO Max it's going to be on.
Right.
I can't wait for that. Yeah.
Agreed.
And that's our show for today, folks.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, it's a time where I tell everyone to follow us, to subscribe to what we do. If you like what we do, we have a whole wide buffet. We have a whole slew of shows. We have all of our articles that come out throughout the week. Please do follow us. Please do comment, do subscribe, do all that stuff. Because in the end, look how badly Mo Khan needs a haircut. We'd love to sponsor that haircut.
Well, I'll get my haircut next week anyway.
Mo, maybe you should give Mark Davis your hair tips.
Yeah, maybe.
Once you get it cut, take a picture and post it on your Twitter, which you can be followed at MoCon19.
Yeah.
And then to which I will respond something stupid. Right?
Probably.
So thank you, Mo, for joining us. It's really absolutely appreciated. Terry, thank you for everything you do. We're back in studio next week? ?
We'll see.
Because
doubted for me
we're
since
done with
I'm
this lag. Sorry, Terry.
I said doubted for me since I'm currently working.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll get you back soon because this lag is driving me crazy. Eagle, thank you for all the work you've done, but most of all, thank you all for letting me be myself.
You've been listening to Hot Sauce Sports.